Hi, everybody. Welcome me back to TWA Talk. It's Brittany, COO for the Wildflower Alliance, here to interview LaToya
Woo woo.
about words. Words matter.
Definitely.
I'll hand it over to you.
You gonna hand it to me?
Just to give people the lay of the land about what we're going to talk about today.
Child. I guess. Okay.
And then we'll take it back to me because
Okay.
then I got questions for her.
So today is really, really, really about the power of language. There is power in the tongue. Okay. For all y'all Christians out there, my people, we know that there is power in your tongue. There is power in the things that you say. There is power in the way that you speak about things. And so, what we really want to get into tonight is the exact same thing, but as it relates to disabilities and what's commonly said, what's unacceptable, what's offensive, what is the true meaning behind things that are said that truly has well intent behind it. Let's go ahead and get down to it because tonight's really not about the disability community. It's not about the people who have disabilities. It's not about the families that support the individuals with disabilities. It's truly about people who want to champion disabilities and people who want to be better, people who want to learn, people who don't want to offend. There have been many conversations that I've been a part of recently because, again, the Wildflower Alliance is not here to talk to the disability community. I'm trying to break it to the broader community and unite us. And in doing so, you come across a lot of uncomfortable ability. Those people, they just uncomfortable just because I don't know what to say.
Say
Not because I'm uncomfortable because you have a disability.
I'm sensitive to the experiences of others, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I just don't say anything.
So I just don't say anything. Exactly. And so we're here tonight to really dive deeper into that. And I won't dive too deep because let's be clear. I acknowledge that I don't have a disability. I am literally the parent of a child with a disability. I'll probably say stuff that she gets upset about, but I don't know it because unfortunately, she can't communicate verbally. And so until she can find her words and we can teach her words, I'm pulling information from self advocates and other people in the disability community. So again, I'm here to bridge the gap for people who don't have the access that I have to the disability community that again wants to be champions. So I'm gonna let you kick us off because listen, tonight is for the people.
And the thing is, too, it's not just for the community to support, but also maybe you're new in your diagnosis journey, you're new into your entry into the disability community, and you still don't have the words. So it's across that spectrum. Anybody.
Yes.
How can we talk in supportive language?
Yes. So that's all it is. And it's just about having that willingness to want to effectively communicate because communication is the basis of all things, all successful relationships. I mean, it's the basis of communication between you and a stranger.
I was about to say, girl, because really what we're talking about could be anything outside of it, and then we're the ones to do this because we're really gonna break it down.
Okay, because listen,
we're gonna understand where you might be misunderstanding. We're gonna see the seed of what you're trying to land, and we're gonna give you the right seed. So,
exactly, that's what we're here.
All right, let's start off. What are some things that people say about disability that sounds respectful but actually cause harm? So let's walk through phrases like special needs. Ooh, gather me. Wheelchair bound, y'all. I thought that was supportive language, but in preparing for this conversation, I learned that was not what to be said. They shouldn't be saying that. So,
baby. So listen, transparent moment. Okay. I hate when people refer to Harper as special needs. I don't know why it used to bother me so well. I do know why, because there's a stigma attached to special needs. Okay, let's be clear. Whenever someone says or labels an individual as special needs, It could be medical, it could be intellectual, it could be physical, it could just be someone who's different. Okay. Special needs has always been the butt of jokes in our community. It has always, I mean, shoot, it's probably in the world. If we being honest, you special needs, you ride the short bus, you all these things, right?
So I feel like some of those things are more, again, from the perspective of like trying to be an advocate. When I think about the term special needs, my thought is acknowledging the differences.
Yeah.
Not erasing them.
Yeah. It's erasing them. Yeah. It's erasing them. Let me tell you why. Because whenever you hear people say the term special needs, now listen, don't y'all special education teachers come at me at my neck. Don't come at me. I'm just literally passing the message along the way that I learned it. I never understood. Well, I'll say, like I said, when I get to the root of why I cringed or why I hate when I hear people refer to Harper as special needs, it's because the way I grew up, special needs is the butt of jokes. Oh, you special, or you ride the short bus, you know? And like now that I have someone who is in that, lives in that community, it's like, well, what's wrong with riding the short bus? The short bus literally is there because it's wheelchair accessible. Is literally designed so that she can ride the bus or a bus and not have to be dropped off by her parents every day. It's designed so that she could be a part of her community, but it's the butt of jokes. For me, so that's where I lived in it. But as you know, I'm a part of all these leadership programs. I've taken a deeper dive into the disability world. Okay, not just the community. Literally have learned from UAB Land, from PIPA, from the early childhood intervention program that I'm a part of. Like all of these things have brought me into a different level of cultural competence as it relates to disability, right? So whenever the general population, okay, remember I said that general population, not normal, general population, not regular, because what is that? Refers to the disability community. You have to, number one, point out there's a difference. So you call us special, right? You're already creating the separation between us as people because you say that my needs are different from yours. Okay. What is special about me needing to eat, needing to toilet, needing to be pushed in a wheelchair? Like, what is special about that? You walk, I roll. Okay. You go to the bathroom by yourself. I need help. What is special about that? If you think about it in the form of basic human dignity, people with disabilities are literally doing the same thing in a different way. But why does it have to be pointed out that it's different? It has to be pointed out that it's different because this world is not designed for people that do things differently. It's just not.
We're working on it.
Oh, absolutely. We're working on it. Okay. Like, I don't have a problem with telling somebody, hey, did you realize? Because just down here at the movie theater by my house, they have all of their handicap, not in the sick in an acceptable term because they are not handicapped.
What does handicap mean?
Handicap I think that people with disabilities take offense to handicap because of the negative connotation of handicap. There's a better way to refer to accessible parking.
Okay.
And so they but yeah, so basically everybody wants to say they're ADA compliant, right? At the minimum, because that's what most businesses do, is go for it at the minimum because they see disability as a cost, right? They don't see it as a human need. They don't see disability as human nature. They don't see disability as a part of life. They see it as a cost. And because of that, you have all of the inaccessible issues that you have. And so they have these three accessible parking spots lined up right next to each other.
Oh, out the stripe space.
No, the stripes are in between them.
Okay.
They're there, but there's a curb right there, like literally at the
point. To lift up.
You have to be able to lift up. The ramp is near the first position, and that's it. So if you're parked in position 2, position 3, you got to get out of your car, go into the parking lot, and then either wheel to that little ramp that they have. That's but basically what I'm saying is that the ramp is mispositioned, because most people put the ramp in the center of all of the spots, meaning once you get out of it, or most people just don't put a curb there at all, because like, what is the need?
Right.
What's the point of a curb near accessible parking?
See, and then that's where we get into my field of work of human factors and usability. If you're actually looking for how the people that you're designing for and evaluating your designs, you'll understand that if this is supposed to be for people that need to be able to get up the sidewalk, that we're not going to put a ledge. What? Okay.
I was like, it frustrated us. So we went, and we took the kids to see Moana 2. And of course, somebody was parked in the first spot. Okay. So that was our first time there parking. So we had to park in position 2. Yeah. We were like, what's the point of having handicap or accessible parking spaces if you're going to put, because we didn't see the ramp. There's no way for you to even see that ramp is there. And if you don't go up that ramp, you're looking at a curb around the entire space. So it's just like, that is an example of, you'll hear the disability community say nothing about us without us, because somebody planned that and had nobody who was even familiar with disabilities on that planning committee. So what's up, people?
Another thing is, people may not know about why the stripes are present.
Yeah. Oh, girl.
We're talking about language, but we can talk about disability.
So listen, y'all, please. The parking spaces, when you see accessible parking, you see those blue lines next to it. That is literally there for accessibility in and out of a car. But instead, what do most able-bodied people do? Feel like it's a parking spot, so let me just park here.
Oh God! And see, that's the worst. I was just talking about them parking over the line.
Oh no!
The parking spot, that's wildly.
They park in the parking spot, but I'm talking about the line.
Yeah, I know people will use it as a spot. That's next level. Y'all can't do that, please. Don't.
Girl, these people don't care. Like when you are able-bodied and you feel like, oh, I just need to run in the store, you literally do not care.
But see, we're not going to attack.
I ain't attacking. I'm just being the parent of someone who's been in the position to watch the people. We went to Top Golf last week, and a lady parked there and watched us struggle to get Harper in and out of the car, sitting in her car, and just watch. Like, it's just like, okay, do I make a scene? Do I be like, can you move? Because I need to open this door wide. You know what I'm saying? But I'm aggressive. You're wrong. You're illegally parked. If I call the police, I'm the antagonizer. You ready to call me out my name. You ready to fight. But literally, because you are not aware of what these mean. If someone, so what happens is people who drive vans, or accessible vans, have those spots are there for them because a ramp lets out of that van so that they can get down into that space, in and out of their car. But if it's a car sitting there, that means I can't get out of my car. But you sitting there because you waiting on so and so to come out the building, or it's like, okay, well then sit in front of the building. I don't understand what is the point.
Because you're legally parked either way.
Either way, but like, why make it hard for, especially when you see a family, like when you actually see a family come walking near you. It's just it's
Those are
wild,
the
but you know.
people where we'll have more work to do.
Uh, you know, them the people that I ain't at the level where I can have conversations with them, because those are again not champions.
Yeah.
Those are the people who truly do not care and want to be challenged, you know. And it's just like, do I challenge you, or do I use all my energy to lift this wheelchair in and out? Because like at the end of the day, my person got to get where they got to go, you know. And do I fight you, or do I do what I got to do?
Right.
Unfortunately, that is the decision that most people are faced with when you have inconsiderate people who choose to do wrong. Like, you're choosing to do wrong. And caveat, do y'all know that you can call the police and report? Is a
Alabama has an app too.
we got an app. We got a whole app. If you don't want to, you know, call,
It's
you
like
know,
Blue Star or something like
I
that.
can't remember the name of it. I'll get it to everybody. I'll put that out there. But you can take a picture, be like, hey, I'll deal with this. So yeah, so that you're not the named individual. I know, you know, we don't like to be snitches, but it's gonna catch you on that one day where you like, I got time today. I got time today. I got time. Most days we ain't got time. We trying to get in and out, and we already sweating profusely, lifting and carrying and walking and pushing and doing all the things. And I just don't want to have to fight somebody else. But unfortunately, here in Alabama, it happens daily. I really honestly would like to hold the businesses accountable though.
But I wonder if there probably is some overlap of like authority that they have for their parking lot.
Absolutely. It's their parking lot.
They have like the spaces that say for police officers or expecting mothers and
Exactly.
things like that. So
exactly. And people don't park in those police spaces, but you'll park in the accessible.
they'll park in the expecting mothers ones as well.
It's
A
wild.
whole nother.
It's wild. And it's just like, especially like, unfortunately, I had to say it, but like teens, I'm just running in and out. Okay. And while you're running in and out, the person who needs that spot has to park at the end of the parking lot and wheel. Or if they have like they can walk but need like a mobility support other than a wheelchair. Now you making them walk from the back of the parking lot because you wanted to back into the parking lot, run in and get your pizza, and then you get in there and it ain't ready. So now you just standing there waiting. It's so many different scenarios that I could throw out, but yeah.
Okay. So coming back to what you had talked about, just that was a hard transition. Sorry, guys.
I know. We go off on tangents.
So coming back to where you were talking about why phrases like special needs, I think you were mentioning the erasure. That speaks to the next question that we have as far as why is it important to use person first language, like a person with a disability, instead of labels like the disabled or, like we said, handicap is out of there. So what shifts when we center the person first in our language?
Because the person has the disability. The disability doesn't have the person. If you can see the person first, now we will start to shift perspectives and shift stigmas and break down barriers that exist, because you see that is a person first, and that person has every basic need that any other person has. Just because they are different as it relates to their mobility. You walk, they roll. Okay. Like, how is that something that, because they're still able to, let's be clear, they're still able to move from point A to point B. It's just that you walk, they roll. Like that I don't, for me, once I heard it put that way, when they said, why are my needs special? Because I don't do them in the same way that you. There are a lot of things we could talk about culturally where people handle things differently, but they're not isolated, and they're not singled out, and they're not pointed out, and they're not highlighted, and they're not labeled as special. It's just that's just their approach to it. And for people with disabilities, it's unfortunately like not seen like that. So now what we are crossing the line into talking about is discrimination. That is how you arrive at discrimination. However, if you see that the person is first, you're more likely to go to bat for a person first.
I have 2 points. The first question, I guess, which we talked about when we were doing some of the planning for this talk. How do you acknowledge that there are differences
So
without erasing? Because we all are different people,
we're
and that's
different,
okay.
right? And people with disabilities need supports.
Mhm.
Period. Like that's all it is. If you think about it, like I said, like with I could use my own child as an example. She's 6. Yeah, like she's still depending on mommy and daddy for everything, right? But she will get to a point where she will be moving on her own, and she will be like, hey, I asked you for your help. I can get there by myself. I think that what the key is like you said, acknowledging that yes, you don't do things the way that I do it, or you may need a level of support at the end of the day, because that's ultimately what it is. You cannot walk with your legs. So what is the level of support that you use? A wheelchair. For people who have to feed through G tubes, um they still eating. Like they still have to be nourished. They still have to be fed, and they just feed through a GI tube. And they need assistance in doing so. So, while I get that it's easy to say, well, they're different. Yes, they are different. But they're able to live and thrive if they're supported.
Let me tell you how it connected for me just now. What you were saying, um, when you were mentioning about the supports that are needed, and you talk to the person, I think maybe the balance of like chivalry, as far as if a man was trying to help a woman and maybe the woman didn't want that type of assistance, and you were saying, well, I was just being helpful. It's like you have to consider.
You have to ask first.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So like I was, I shadowed Kathy Carver with Come Roll With Me. I had heard about the program, had seen the videos. I actually met Kathy at the Assistive Technology Conference last year. Heard her talk about the program, and that was my first. That was where I said, I knew it. It's not special needs. Like it's
Yeah.
not,
It's
and
really
she
the
just
person first.
it's like
What
this,
do the
what do
individual
you
need?
need?
Yeah.
And so she was the one who really kind of introduced that concept to me. And when I listened to what Come Roll With Me does is it brings in wheelchair experts. And you hear people who use wheelchairs all the time. It was put so plainly when I was listening to there was a wheelchair expert, Brooke. Brooke said, people should just ask me if I want help. I don't always need help. Sometimes I'm just sitting there, but sometimes people will just come up and start pushing me, and it'll startle me. And it's like, you just came up and started pushing me because you saw that you saw the wheelchair first, and you just assumed that I just needed something that was different, when really I was just sitting there waiting, waiting on my turn, waiting on, the next thing to happen for me to go. And when she said that, I was like, dang, that is so true. Because like I know that like if Harper doesn't want you to push her, she starts swatting at you, right? But I can't imagine what it feels like as an adult who can verbally communicate, and you sitting there just being pushed around by somebody who just decided that you needed the help. How come you didn't ask me? I'm a person first, and I'm sitting here waiting on my turn. Why are you pushing me away from where I need to go? And the fact that I heard her say that it would startle her So because of that, so what people don't know is that people who have cerebral palsy have something called the startle reflex,
Mhm.
right? The startle reflex is something that typically goes away within the first like few weeks of life,
Mhm.
but with cerebral palsy, it does not. It stays. And so that means, so if you've ever watched Harper standing and then she'll go, and just that will be enough to take her off her feet and knock her down. That startle reflex is something that they can't control. And you just gave her a startle because you just decided she needed to be pushed.
Mhm.
It's crazy. But while well intentioned, you are also very offensive. So,
So what I'm thinking about right now is, as someone in the community who desires to be supportive, like I'm imagining you asking me like, what's your hesitation, or what are the things that give you pause?
yeah,
Ooh, that scare me.
it's because like you have to see the person first, but also
But like, what gives me hesitation to say like, you know
it's
what I mean? Because
it's
help me
because
break that down.
it's because you're unfamiliar with it. Like at the end of the day, it's just an unfamiliarity with people who maneuver through life differently than what you're used to and what you're used to seeing. You got to realize that most people are surrounded by people who are very much so like them. You're surrounded by
In
people who
general,
could walk to their mailbox. You surrounded by people who can get in and out of their car. You're surrounded by that. And so when you don't have that level of exposure, it is very uncomfortable. I hate to say it like this, but it's the same for when you come from a all white community.
yeah, it's like the translation is into a lot of
Ain't it
things.
crazy? It's crazy. That's why it's these programs open me up and make me realize that while civil rights were being fought for as it relates to race, that was side by side with disability civil rights. Side by side. There's a lot of overlap
Mm-hmm.
in that. Because civil rights is civil rights, period. Like civil rights is human rights.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about humans, it is the human who's in the wheelchair. It is the human, who you see that has like a different, approach to doing some of the same things that are commonly done by the majority of people. So while you drink your cup from an open spout, I gotta use a straw.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing the same thing. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
doing it differently.
This is, again, we're just hitting all the natural transitions. I love this here because this kind of reminds me of the conversation that we had about coded language.
Ooh.
So, what are some examples of framing that seems neutral but actually reflects deeper discomfort with disability? Things like, that's too much for me, or I just don't feel equipped to deal with that. So, like, what's being
Mm.
communicated underneath? Because again, you feel like you're saying things, but it's coded. And what that, the transition for me in my mind was, again, when we talked about it, as far as we know what coded language looks like as Black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, so again, providing these examples to show what that connection looks like of, I hear what you're saying, what you think that you're not saying, but I'm
But
picking
what
it
you're
up.
actually
Yeah,
saying,
I'm
it
picking up
couldn't
what you
be
put out.
me.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think we talked about this when Tierra was here. You're so brave. You have a lot of courage. It's like, okay, and if I didn't have that, what are you saying? I should be dead, because I chose, like what, not to live? Like what is it that you're saying? Oh my God, the worst of it is God gave you this. Girl, God gave you this, or people say, God chose you for this battle. Um, I hear the well intention. Don't get me wrong. The intention of what they're truly trying to say is that um you're demonstrating a level of strength that I can't comprehend, right? Because I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what it's like daily. I don't know the fights that you have to fight daily, so like if you look at me as a Black woman, you know that there are certain battles that I just have to fight naturally just because of the way our society is set up, right? So what you're saying is, in addition to that, you also then have to fight for your child, and you know, you have to fight the schools, and you have to do these things. And so, like, I think that's what they're, or I like to think, and I like to tell myself that's what they're alluding to. Because again, I can't fight every battle. I hate to say it, but you know, people say choose your battles. That's so unfair to say to people who are living with disability or living through disability, because you're basically telling me. I literally just saw a post on Facebook from one of my mom friends that I actually met when we were at Children's, and she talks about how people are telling her, you need to pick your battles. And she's like, no, I won't stop advocating for my child. This is a basic right.
Right.
Why should I even have to fight for it?
Yeah.
Why should I have to fight? Why should I have to fight for her to get supports? Why should I have to fight for that? You know, and you're telling me that I'm stirring the pot because I choose to speak up and say, no, that's
For
not
my
what we
baby,
want.
for my child.
Yeah, for my
What
child.
parent wouldn't do that?
That's what I was about to say. Cause let little Johnny Leroy Tucker, whoever, get on that baseball field and not get the same level of playing time that the other kids getting, you gonna pipe up. And you gonna pipe up hard. Because you gonna say, I'm paying my money. He's showing up to practice. We're trying. We practicing at home. You're gonna do all those things. And that's not wrong for you to stir the pot for playing time. But it's wrong for me to stir the pot to advocate for something that she needs to thrive. That post was it just hit home so hard, because it's just like, I feel that. And why is it always that I gotta have this level of anxiety when I'm getting ready to speak up? Because I'm like, hey, you doing this wrong. Or why does it have to be that way? You know, most people are receptive when you say, why does it have to be that way? Because then they say, well, it doesn't. You're right. We can change that, you know? And then some people will just get back to that. I'm just uncomfortable. I just don't. And it's just like, who cares about you being uncomfortable?
What do you think I'm feeling? Is it all about you, or is it all about
That's all.
us?
That's all I'm saying.
Come on, community.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, do we want to be a community, or do we want to keep coddling people who have not been challenged in, you know, most of their lives? And then when it's time for them to, you know, be faced with the situation, they get to bail out. We don't get to bail out. We got to fight. We got to stand up. We got to say something. Otherwise, we'll start talking about learned helplessness. You know, we'll talk about those things where, you know, you're ultimately sending the message to a disabled person that that's the best it's gonna get for you. So that's what you deserve.
That also sounds like you were saying, like, when they used to put people with disabilities like in the closet, hide them away.
Girl, they still doing that in Alabama.
Oh God.
Let's be clear. It's still some evil-hearted people out there, and they in the school systems too.
Don't let us find.
Child. Because listen, those are the people that need to be beat like a rug.
Don't let us find out.
I mean, what? But yeah, like, yeah, it still exists, but that's also why we as parents advocate the way that we do. It's because I'm not stupid. I know that, you know, okay, you having an off day, don't come to work. Don't come to work. If you cannot tolerate you know, the what people don't realize is that children who are having these tantrums, meltdowns, whatever you want to label them, they can't control that.
Yeah.
They can't regulate that. And that is the way that they know how to communicate. And you mad. You mad at your big age. You mad. Like,
Stay
seriously.
Home. Stay home.
Stay at home. Or pick another profession. Like this.
Please.
I don't understand that. I don't understand why you choose to say, oh, I'm gonna work with, you know, children with disabilities. And then you get this child with a disability who is overstimulated or can't communicate what's triggering them. And so they act out. It's just like an infant. If you think about it, infants can't communicate. So they what? Cry.
Yeah.
And then you try to figure out what it is that they need. But because this child who can't communicate verbally is acting out, or you told them no, which was a trigger for them, or you told them that they can't do, because that's the thing for Harper. Like, you tell her no, or you tell her, all right, we're done with that, it's time to move on. She's gonna, she doesn't melt down, but she definitely refuses.
Yeah.
But that it looks different. That's what people also don't understand, is that every disability ain't the same.
Mm-hmm.
So while Harper might not be melting down, you can ask her teacher, she just flop in her chair like this, like all the way down. She put her head between her knees like a little ostrich.
Mm-hmm.
And then you be like, pick your head up. And she just dropped back down. Like, I can't hear you. You know what I'm saying? That's the same level of resistance.
Why did you
that
say ostrich?
Because like any of the ostriches that bury their heads
In the ground.
Yep.
I think so.
That's Harper. Yup. She put her head between her knees. So like, I can still see you, girl. But like, she refuses to participate once you told her that it's time to do something else. But some children don't react that way. Like, that's easy to deal with, right? Because she ain't screaming, she ain't yelling, but she does scream and she does yell. But like, some children can't do it, react that easily. And it is gonna be. And so even like restraining kids is still happening. I heard about that. It's the term bear hug. That's actually restraining. Not acceptable. Unless the parent has said this is how we, but really give them compression vest, compression blanket, like, there's ways other than physically restraining children
And
that you can.
My concern is that it's a few things that I'm thinking about, because whatever we see at a societal level, I feel like it's compounded within the disability community. So there are general challenges. Well, I'm talking. See, this is the language. I just think about, like, again, societal things that happen, and then you compound it down. So it's like you're saying, as far as if you are education or a medical professional, if you don't have the ability to be able to support the diversity of the population that you could see, you need to be reconsidering.
Or you need to go get some training.
I don't know, because like when we're talking, well, everybody.
That's the thing.
Everybody change. Everybody change.
The funny part about, or I love that you brought up the medical professionals. They are not trained to support.
Yeah.
I have a friend that is a doctor, and she can admit that or does it frequently in any conversation you have with her, that medical professionals are not trained. That is why programs like Come Roll With Me is so unique, because they're now getting into the medical schools. And even still, it's still not a requirement for those medical students to attend programs like that. It's just a lunch and learn.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's too much awareness being brought. And then you have people like my good friend Alicia, who is really finna get out here and like, shake it up, because she's a parent of a child with a disability now. And I can sit here and talk for days about what it's like to come across these medical professionals that, because they have the medical expertise, think that they know more than you. Or even one of my good friends in my PIPA program was talking about her experience here recently with her child, where she tried to advise the nurses and doctors that her son needed to be sedated. And they told her, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do it this way. And she was like, he's going to resist, he's gonna fight, he's gonna kick, punch, throw, all the things. And then after all of that, then they chose to do it her way. And it's like, you could have avoided that if you just listened to me. That happens so much. But again, that goes into, awareness. It goes into, wanting to be a champion, listening, family centered, patient centered, person first. All of it is related.
So coming back to words, because words matter.
Yes, definitely.
What I wanted to walk us through is kind of a spectrum of things that are clearly harmful to, again, well-intentioned, but you probably shouldn't say that, to you are a champion, you are an advocate.
So here is where
I want specific examples though.
It gets a little hazy though. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Tell us.
Because I just literally I'm only gonna speak from my experiences, and I'm gonna give you education on what I've learned, like I said, through my leadership programs and the exposure that I had. But I can't speak for everybody. Like at the end of the day,
Facts.
I don't have a disability. I am still very much so a part of the able-bodied community, right? I'm a champion because I'm a parent, a caregiver, whatever you want to label me as. Because again, that's all that this is. This language is labels, and it does matter who you're talking to. Two examples I want to talk about. Excuse me. First one is I like special needs. I like to talk about special needs, right? Because I talked to several people. I've done a little research of my own about special needs. I cringe at special needs. I don't like it, but I told you why. It's because as I grew up in my life, in my background, in my history, in my culture, special needs has always been the butt of a joke, right? And you've never really truly I never really had that exposure to special needs like Harper. Harper ain't got no special needs. Harper has to take medications. Most people got to take medications daily for allergies. You know, otherwise they walking around here looking red and swollen by the eyes and looking like they got COVID, right? And so I'm just saying, like, you know, so saying that somebody has special needs because they have to take a medication or because of these different things, but you have to use the term special needs depending on who you're talking to. And I really hate that because if I'm talking to the disability community, I'm not going to use the term special needs. I'm going to say disabilities. But if I'm talking to an insurance company, anybody that's not the disability community, so basically anybody in the broader world, I have to say special needs to get their minds to register what I'm trying to say. I love that you looking like that because I thought the same thing. That's crazy.
People know what disability means.
Because you know what disability means, but you have those able-bodied people who feel like disability is the ugly term and not special needs. Oh yeah. At one of my coffee and convo.
Because I thought that was again, that was my effort to be supportive.
No, like
I tried my hardest to be mindful. I was shocked today to learn that I was not. You do not need to be
special needs, but that's why I say like
from. I never said suffers from, but
oh yeah, it suffers from is awful because like Harper doesn't suffer from cerebral palsy, but she literally does not suffer. She probably had a better life than most. But I'm just saying, like, she's not suffering. She's happy. Okay. But then like, yeah, so you have terms like special needs and you have people
high functioning, low functioning.
Ooh, child, high functioning, low functioning. It's crazy because like
regular.
If you're talking about things that are on a spectrum, disability is on a spectrum. How can you say because this person can perform this task, they're high functioning, but because you can't, you're considered low functioning? Because that's ultimately what you're saying. Oh, but he's very high functioning. They're very high functioning because they can drive a car. Okay. And they could also have a mental meltdown in the middle of that. And when them police officers come, they not going to see high functioning, low functioning. Okay. Like, let's be clear. So like that language has it. So okay. So let me give you, so, you know, I'm shooting it down, but also the correct way to refer to things is severity.
Okay.
What is the severity of your, you know, a disability? Your severity.
Accommodations, receive support services.
That is not something that is
respectful. It's not
respectful. Yeah. I was about to say that's not something that's like frowned upon. Yeah. It was another term that I had thought of. So special needs, and then you got, like you said, high function, low function. That was a really good one. Oh man, I had thought of a really good one. But basically, anytime you're choosing to create separation, because
Mhm.
that's ultimately what all of that does.
Mhm.
Oh, I had a really good one: mental retardation.
Hey.
Most people in the world
Y'all
know.
know today. Don't say that.
Today, don't
Y'all.
say retard, mental retardation, but it's still an acceptable medical term. And that's where, so I remember having a conversation. I was sitting in on this lecture. Um, there was this dietitian. I really love her. She was really good, and she was talking about, we kind of got into talking about language and things like that. And I was just like, how do we change this if we have to continue using the words
Mhm.
because it's accepted in
Mhm.
certain things? So you might, or not, you might, if you were to go and look, you'll find that there are still laws written that say mental
Not surprised.
retardation,
Not surprised.
and they're
Especially in
not
our
going
home
to
state.
change.
Yeah.
But oh, absolutely. But also, like, just again in the broader medical community, but that then still points to the fact that there are still people in the medical community who are still um unaware, who are still not culturally competent as it relates to disabilities, still just don't know. And they think that, but again, that's an ableist mentality to
Mhm.
think that most doctors that you come across who are culturally competent are not going to use that. But for example, when I was talking about how you have to use special needs when you're talking to certain people,
Mhm.
when I'm going to the insurance company, I'm gonna have to say special needs. It ain't no other way to say it, because you got to think about it. Also, in addition to, even though I'm calling an insurance company and I'm thinking that these are all insurance professionals, let's be honest about what it's like when you in corporate America. Everybody ain't got the same level
Yeah.
of dedication
Yeah.
to their positions. And so if you call in the customer support, they're going, huh, until you say special needs. Then it's, oh, okay, I need to take you to
Yeah.
this person. Unfortunately, that language still exists, and a lot of language still exists. And a big question mark that I have is, how do we ever change this if we know that this is not acceptable language? For example, you ain't never gonna be able to call me the N-word. You ain't never gonna be able to call me the
Never.
N-word,
Never.
but it was because we aligned and we said, no more. You're not saying that. Like, you're not gonna refer to me that way. But in the disability community, we fight for that and we do that. And your self advocates are out there doing the work
Mhm.
to educate people. They'll correct my grandma. I would love it if they could come to my family and just, but I'm just saying, like,
We'll share this TWA talk.
okay,
That's what we'll do.
yeah, child. But like, but for the most part, we're just in a time of division, a time of where, I don't hate to say this, let me stop lying, where people feel seen because somebody says autism, because that's what the division in the disability community that I saw when homeboy said that autism is destroying families. A sharp divide. You had people saying autism ain't destroyed my family. And then you had, I feel seen. He said autism, so I feel seen.
That's deeper
Don't
than
attack
rap.
me because
That's
I'm not the one.
that's deeper than rap because
But I ain't gonna right. And also, let me be clear. I don't have an autism diagnosis, but my opinion is just that I don't understand how anybody can say that you feel seen simply because somebody used terminology, because he used that
because it's
terminology
not
in a way that
accurate.
was,
Yeah.
exactly, he used that terminology in a way that was more detrimental
Harmful,
and
unhelpful.
harmful. But you're just happy that it was said. And if that's where you live, I ain't knocking you. Because again, I understand that all the severity of disabilities are different. I just choose not to see our challenges as it's hard, it's tough, I'm tired, I need a break. but I don't look for acknowledgement or recognition from people who don't want to understand truly what I'm feeling. I don't think that there was a true understanding there. That's just what my opinion is. Don't come for me, people.
Or
I don't want to hear
no,
your comments because I ain't
no,
open.
no. Let's hear your
I'm
comments
just saying.
because then we're gonna educate. So let's hear them.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you're gonna have those people
Depending.
that I am literally standing on a platform saying that just because someone says the word does not mean that they're acknowledging you.
Yeah.
Especially when they don't.
After policies.
Well, he is. Oh, here we go.
No. We're going back to language.
Because it's the language that matters, right? All right. I ain't gonna go there.
What are two last questions you pick? Okay, the first one. What does advocacy sound like in conversation, especially when you're correcting somebody? Or what do you say to someone who stays silent because they're afraid of saying the wrong things? Or both?
You're not gonna answer both of these.
I know that's why I said it.
So, what does advocacy look like? What was the first one? When someone wants to.
What does advocacy sound like in conversation?
Especially
when you're correcting somebody?
So, I love that question so much because, I was telling you earlier that I'm starting to like show up in spaces where disability is not commonly talked about. And that's intimidating for someone who doesn't want to say the wrong thing. And what advocacy looks like for me in those spaces is opening the floor for them to say whatever it is that just say it. Just say it. You don't know how to say it. Just go ahead and say what's in your mind. And then we can talk about it from there. I had a great conversation. I'm gonna call out Justin. I ain't gonna say your last name, but that's my new friend. We are on the basketball planning committee for Baskets Not Caskets. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, so we're on a planning committee, and I'm bringing the idea for them for what we're gonna do with our wheelchair basketball day camp. And you could see him light up. Oh, he's so excited, and he's like, "Oh my God, I can see it! I can see it! It's gonna be so great!" And oh my God, it's gonna change so many lives. And he's super like embracing it. And then as we're going through the conversation, you can see him like trying to find the word, right? I take fault there. As an advocate, I didn't create a space for you that was safe enough for you to, first of all, for me to lead with, hey, this is the way you say things. But you're not gonna walk into a space like, hey, I'm all about the disabilities.
But even
this how you talk.
If this is safe for you to say what you're thinking,
right? And that's what I ultimately, eventually I did create that, like, just say it. I was like, just say what you're thinking. And, if it's wrong, I'll correct you.
Right.
Most of the time it's not wrong, because anytime you have the heart to want to try, even if you get it wrong, you're gonna say, is that how you say that? Yeah. And that's what I got a lot of from him. I don't know how to say. And I just said, disabilities. Just say disability. If you don't know nothing else, say disabilities. There is nothing ugly about disabilities. It's not. It's not for me. For me, I for anybody else, I don't know.
That's what we're.
That's what it is. It's a disability. That's period.
Inclusion.
It's exactly. If we talk about inclusive language, and you talk, and we really honestly didn't even get into inclusive language. We talked about it when we said first, like person first. But it was so exciting. I love being in spaces like that, and being around people who truly want to champion the language and understand the power of language. But then for those people who sit back and just don't say anything, also realize what is the saying, silence is compliance. It's the same thing. It is the exact same thing. It's just like if you saw someone being bullied, or you saw something going wrong and you didn't say anything. It's the same thing. I would rather here is when I was in Georgia for a friend's birthday. We went to this park. It's a festival. And I met these two young ladies. who identify as lesbians. And but one of them looked like a male to me. So, but I didn't know, I just, at first sight, I just assumed male. But once she started talking, I was like, oh, but I didn't say that. I just didn't say it. And then when we got further into our conversation, I started telling him about Wildflower Alliance, I'm disability, and we could connect on so many things because unfortunately a lot of the marginalized communities are connected. Like the fight is the same. And I just said, I don't know how to refer to y'all. And they was like, just ask. And I was like, dang, that's so crazy. Like I could have just said, hey, how do you identify? You ain't gonna walk up and say that to a person in a wheelchair. Hey, how do you identify? They're gonna be like, what?
Now I'm telling you, because when I've interacted with people of mixed ancestral descent. So I guess there's a way that you say it. Because the friend that I had, people used to ask her, "What are you?" And she would be like, "I'm a human."
Yeah, absolutely. Because you are. What do you mean? I'm not an alien.
And so they were trying to understand what was her ancestry. But it's about the way that you say it, again, to center the person first rather than look at them like an object. Or it's like, I want to know you, but people will be okay with asking that question.
Yes. Well, how do you identify? That's why you see the she, her, the him, his, the they, them. It's the same thing. Like, it's the same thing. It's just ask. Just ask. The same way if most people in wheelchairs welcome conversations like that. Because now I know that you see me as a person.
Yeah, it's just leading with consideration.
Absolutely. And that's it.
Assumption.
So
look at that.
So I said that to say, come to our Come Roll With Me wheelchair basketball day camp, and you'll get to learn directly from wheelchair experts. You'll get to ask those hard questions. So when you're in public, please don't walk up to somebody and say, what happened to you?
Oh my God.
You can walk up to them though and say, hey, how are you? Do you mind if I ask, like, why do you use a wheelchair? Or why do you have to use a wheelchair? Because what you'll also find is that there are some people who use wheelchairs that can also walk. They just can't walk long distances.
I'm gonna say that too, because I don't know if I'm so personable that I would want somebody walking up to me. So I guess maybe you have to use all your social cues.
Well, but you would.
Maybe everyone doesn't want you to walk up to them either, right?
That's not true. Well, okay. Again, I'm trying not to speak for everybody, but I'll say that that's probably not true for most people. Because again, for most people,
individually.
Well, because most people or who have disabilities have such limited social interaction anyway.
Come on, facts.
Like that, like they are already so limited. So the fact that you're willing to even just recognize them, it's not that they're appreciative, it's just that you're making them feel seen. Like most people want to feel seen. People who have disabilities are people first. They have feelings just like everybody else. Everybody wants to be seen. And even if, unfortunately, you've been taught to hide your disability and somebody recognizes it, so that's when you probably get the, why you asking me that? Like the pushback. But for most people, what I've learned is that it's not offensive if you walk up to them and you want to have a conversation. But June 25th, we're going to have school-age children, okay, to participate in the camp. Okay, let's get to them. So I'm so excited to announce our biggest events coming up here June 25th. We're having our Come Roll With Me wheelchair basketball day camp. It's a part of the Baskets Not Caskets basketball camp that's held at More Than Conquerors every year. But we are plugging in on day one. And on day one, it's going to be all about inclusive basketball. And what does that look like? It's wheelchair basketball. We've partnered with Lakeshore Foundation. They're going to provide the wheelchair. So every participant will be able to sit in a wheelchair and learn wheelchair basketball. You'll learn it from experts. You'll learn it from coaches, people who coach wheelchair basketball. You'll learn it from people who play wheelchair basketball. you'll get to play against people who play wheelchair basketball. There's just so much that this is going to bring. It brings a level of perception for people who don't have disabilities. It brings a level of social interaction for children who play wheelchair basketball to play with their peers. And hopefully it'll create that dialogue, and it'll give them the opportunity to really see the person for the first time ever. This is the first of its kind. Nothing like this has ever been done. So it's only right that TWA More Than Conquerors do this, because we leads the way. But we are here to start to truly break down invisible barriers. And in that day, there are going to be workshops where they'll get to talk directly to wheelchair experts, wheelchair users, therapists. They'll get to talk to people who play wheelchair basketball. They get to talk to people who live with disabilities all their lives. And we're adding a layer of that to have a parent workshop so that parents can come and also learn as well. Because let me tell you, one thing I hate to see is when I'm on the playground with Harper and parents are pulling their children away from her. Children who are naturally migrating to her, even if they want to come up and say, "What's wrong with her?" That's okay. That level of inquiry, that inquisitiveness is what breaks down the barriers. But you create that barrier when you tell them not to do that. And parents need that, to hear that from other parents. Also, parents of children with disabilities will get, hopefully, we'll see if we can pull in a parent of an adult child with a disability to say, "Hey, let them be independent." Let's let people hear from people who are further along in their journey and the disability journey. And give that perception to everybody. So we're hitting it from all sides. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for people who want to be present. If you just want to serve water to the athletes, come on, sign up. We're looking for you. But June 25th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Send your friends, send your monies, because we take monies too.
All the information is on our website under the events page.
Yes, all of it is there. www.thewildfloweralliance.com / CRWM, or you can go to the events page and you'll see it there and get way more information than what I have time to give you right now. But I'm so excited about that effort. It's going to truly be phenomenal. It's gonna be life changing.
It'll be what we have talked about in action.
Absolutely. So thank y'all for joining tonight. Of course, we could go on this topic forever. There's still even a lot of stuff that we didn't even get to reach, and I would love to bring a self-advocate on so you can hear from someone who lives with a disability directly. I know plenty now. I love those. Listen, self-advocates, I wish I had their level of audacity. So, I love them. They are amazing. But yeah, thank y'all for joining us tonight. I can't wait to see y'all in June for our Bruising Brotherhood.
Yes.
Absolutely. So the dads, we got something going on for y'all. Come on out, back 40. Come get you a beer on us. We looking for it.
Their beers. I'm gonna mess it up though.
Yeah, it was beer. It's gonna be beer.
I know, but I know some of their specific brews, but I don't. There's a peanut butter porter that I like.
Okay.
Come on and get some.
Come get anything. Just come out, have a good time, connect with our community. Just come out the house. That's all.
We're outside this summer. Bye, y'all.
Yeah. See y'all.